Hey guys, it's me, Jennifer, and today I'm back in the garage working on my husband's 1972 Opel GT. Let's get into it. Okay, so one of the things I want to do today is get this radiator out. I don't know if there is any coolant in this thing, but this car has been sitting for about 8 years. And when I took off the radiator cap, just poking around a few days ago, I found that there was like this kind of brownish sludge. And I'm going to assume that that is all the way throughout the radiator. I was also poking around underneath doing stuff and found that the bottom of the fan shroud has a nice hole in it from the fan hitting it, and the fan blades are a little bit chewed up on the ends because of that. I found that the bushing that's supposed to be in the middle of the bottom of the radiator does not exist. This thing is actually being held up by a piece of wire that's kind of looped underneath the radiator, which is probably causing the radiator to be held up too low. I'm gonna pull this thing out. I got a radiator on the way and we'll get it replaced. So that's gonna be first on the list today. Why is this always in like some really awkward spot? Alright, can I actually get to the stuff from up here? That's nice. I don't know where my screwdriver just went. Get in there. Now I need a different screwdriver. So I guess there was some coolant in there still. I got the bottom hose finally off. Okay, so that just took way longer than it should have to take off the upper and lower radiator hose and undo the fan shroud's 4 screws. One was super rusted on. The bottom ones are in very awkward spots. The one that was super rusted on, I ended up soaking it in so much penetrating oil and got it off with a flathead screwdriver. I think this thing's pretty drained. The only thing that's really holding it in are the side bushings and that wire. So I'm gonna snip the wire. I've bent the tabs on the radiator because they were pretty snug. Think I got it. Might still be secured. Oh, there we go. Yep, it's leaking. Thank God I have the drain pan still there. It's out. Holy crap. Oh yeah, this has seen better days. Pretty gross. On the other side, rested down on the sides. I think I'm gonna call it a day right there and pick up on stuff tomorrow because I am worn out. So it's now tomorrow and I'm gonna go ahead and change out the spark plugs and wires because I'm also not sure when those were last done. I've already checked the gaps on all of the spark plugs. I had to adjust a couple of them because they were a little bit off. If you're wondering, the spark plug gap should be 0.030. Can I just pop you off? Yeah. I'm gonna do these one by one just to make sure that everything is in the right order. So, it also still smells like cat pee, thanks to that old coolant. I'm gonna torque all of these after I get them all in. So I'm gonna go ahead and like tape up the wires so I know which order they go in. It doesn't really fit snug. I kind of don't like that. I might actually reuse this old plug wires. These are like, I don't know. They don't fit right. What is with this? All right, last one. Ow. Oh, that scratched me up pretty good. Ow. What's wild is the service manual says to torque to 22 to 29 pound-feet. I'm like, why such a huge range? Doesn't feel like it's on there. I think I finally got it. I'm not too confident in that back one, but if this thing fires really weird whenever I do start it up, I'm gonna know why. All right, time for some more gear oil fun. I'm gonna go ahead and change out the fluid and the rear axle differential. Hopefully it's not as gross as the transmission fluid. Had some penetrating fluid going on these. I know somebody said that you can probably just drain from the bottom 2 bolts and then fill, but I have no idea what condition this oil is in. So I'm gonna torture myself instead. What you be stuck on? Oh, there we go. Doesn't look too horrible in here, but the surface is clean, a little rusty. It's kind of delicious. Nice chocolatey soup. So I'm gonna go ahead, let this finish dripping for a bit, clean up the pan and make up a gasket for it, and we'll be able to put in new fluid. Okay, so my smart self totally didn't notice that this was a hex for the fill plug. And so I went to O'Reilly's and got a hex socket because none of mine are the right size and I got the wrong size. So for now, I'm only going to get as far as reinstalling the pan. I did make a new gasket. These were out of stock on Opel GT source when I placed my last order, but I'm a crafty person and I have a vinyl cutter. So I just have gasket material, fits pretty darn close. So I'm going to install it. These torque to 22 pound-feet. All right, so I'm going to leave that as is for tonight. And in the morning, I'll grab the correct hex socket. And then hopefully in a couple days, new radiator will be in and I'll be able to get that in. I do have penetrating fluid going on the bracket for the lower mount. I'll let that soak for the time being as well. All right, so I finally got my 8mm hex socket. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the fill plug, fill this thing up, and we'll finally be done with the rear axle differential. All right, so I also have the drain pan. It still has the old fluid in it, just so that when the rear axle fills up and starts draining out of the fill hole, I don't have to worry about making a mess. All right, I'm just using the same 80W90 gear oil that I used in the transmission. I really wish these were the foil packet things. So like the transmission, the rear axle differential takes only 2.5 pints of fluid. There we go. All right, and that's it. I was hoping the new radiator would be in on time for this video, but unfortunately a certain shipping carrier let it sit in a warehouse for 2 days, so it got delayed. So that will be in the next video for the Opel GT. So if you want to stay up to date on that and other future progress on the Opel GT, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to help support this project and other future content on the channel, go to thegearheadgirl.com and you can get access to exclusive content and some merchandise. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.